International Radio Podcast.
Episode 32 of Just the Radio. Actually, this just shows the dedication of the sport. When the moment you arrive, you have to have your meal and you need to, make sure that you get your meal in. So Vanessa, thank you so much. And we're going to delve into your dedication and obviously your passion to the sport. So thank you so much for coming through.
Hi JC, thank you for having me.
Of course. So if you want to introduce yourself to the people that can't see you.
So hi everyone, my name is Vanessa de Freitas and I'm an Ifbb Bikini Pro, and that's me.
So you turned pro, when was this?
In 2019.
Okay. And you've actually been a pro in other federations as well?
Yes, that's correct.
WBFF. So that's actually where we met.
Yes,
I remember that photo of us at Carnival City.
Yes, you were in your suits and I was in my white.
Exactly, but I just got my pro card. You were pro a year before that?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you had to get a meal in. When you ate your first meal, or not your first meal, but your meal when you got your, is that because you're prepping for something, or is it just general healthy eating?
Just general, just making sure I somewhat stay ready.
And is that you coached by Vic Ali, huh?
Yes, I am.
And that's I had Arnold on this morning as well. And that's something he also
cool.
said, is that he's always ready.
Yeah.
Is that something that Vic as a coach does, or is that you as an athlete?
Well, look, I think, your coach is your coach, but I mean, you can have the best coach in the world, but if you're not going to be the athlete you want to be, then you will not be the athlete you want to be.
Yeah.
So it's not up to the coach to tell you to keep yourself in check all the time, to make sure you're training hard and doing everything that you have to do. That all has to come from within you.
Yeah. So your relationship with Vic, is it you say, okay, Vic, I want to look a certain way, help me look that way? Or is it Vic kind of outlining, be like, Vanessa, I think you should do X, Y, and Z this year as an athlete?
Well, with Vic's and I's relationship, it's a little different because prior to receiving my pro card, I had done other international shows. And, upon preparing for those, I said to him, the first show I went for, I said, hey, well, listen, you don't know yet, but we're basically prepping for the Muscle Contest International, which will take place in São Paulo, Brazil. And he said, well, okay, let's do it. And by then the Pro League wasn't here in South Africa. So we were doing everything ourselves. I was watching videos of the Olympians, learning the poses. I didn't have anyone here really that could carry me through all the posing here where I live. So we just kind of did everything. And, we did what we thought would be the suitable look. And look, I mean, it was also kind of a benchmark to know where I would stand. So, then you come back and we go back to the drawing board. So, then when it came time for London, we were like, okay, we want to try a more tighter but fuller look, fuller shoulders, fuller glutes, and, we just work with that.
As you talk about, a different look, that's something that you've had to change slightly from WBFF to IFBB. So what certain changes would you say that you've had to make to obviously benefit you the best in the different federation?
I think if you ask me that, I can basically just say I've had to change my entire package because, as you've seen, if you look at the Olympia girls, for bikini, they're very muscular, very tight, round, but full at the same time.
Yeah, it's just the shoulders are a lot more capped. It's almost not as close to the female body as looking as a male, but it's a lot more muscles and a lot more closer to your classic physique or your male categories where you want more developed rounder shoulders and bigger glutes and more detail.
You want that glute and hamstring tie in.
And how has your training changed to try put on, to be bigger, to be, tighter and everything on stage?
Well, I mean, with Vic, in fact, we just did a check-in on Saturday, and, we're just working around the clock and just staying the course and keeping on, and, how it goes. You work and you look at the results of that, and we say, okay, well, let's, try and do that or try and do this.
Yeah. And have you enjoyed the change? Have you enjoyed seeing how your body responds?
Absolutely. I feel like I am just, the Pro League is where I feel like that's where I belong.
As a female, have you found it difficult to build the muscle that you've needed to make the change into Pro League?
Well, technically speaking, I haven't really ever, well, not ever, but because it's hard work, but I've always, my family, it's, a little bit genetical. We've all got kind of an athletic build. So, if you take my older sister, for example, she's never trained her calves in her life, but her calves are on point. So, obviously it's challenging to get onto the next level, but...
have you tried to, go heavier in the gym, or what certain...
Absolutely, I'm always challenging myself, always challenging myself in the gym.
And have you found it more difficult in the Pro League to maintain, but also, you enjoy the dedication, but have you found it more difficult in Pro League to stick up to the size that you're needed to, as opposed to WBFF, where So WBFF it's more of the, the glamorous, the round curvature, not as tight. So obviously I'm sure you prefer what you're doing now because you can push your body a bit more to the extreme.
Yes.
But have you enjoyed doing it, and is it something that would you never want to go back to looking more round, or what do you prefer?
Well, looking at how my body has developed over the years now, it's something that you know where you came from, and you know where you started. So when I look at myself now, it's like, wow, there's just so much change, and I know I'll never go back to looking like that again. Also because it's just, I work at it day in, day out, every single day. It's not, if you want a good body, it's not when you feel like it, it's every single day.
Yeah. What's your training split like? Because obviously you've tried to develop your glutes more, your shoulders got a bit bigger. So how have you tackled the training? In terms of like what day do you do what? Monday, is it glutes, or how do you do it?
Well, today's actually Wednesday, so it's glute isolated exercises, which will happen later on tonight. But as now looking at comparisons and your fellow other bikini pros, just focusing a lot more on just keeping my glutes where they are, round, full, and just kind of working on my back and shoulders to remain having that V taper look. So Mondays I usually do legs, Tuesdays shoulders, Wednesdays glute isolated, Thursdays will be back, Friday legs, Saturday. Sorry,
no,
a bit of a
don't
blank.
But so how many times a week?
I always just with every check-in that you do with Vic, we're like, okay, we just re-evaluate everything from diet to training. Yeah.
So how many times would you do glutes? Because I know that's obviously all girls, want good glutes.
Well, glutes, I try focus on training glutes at least 3 times a week, even if it was shoulder day. I'll get my shoulder workouts, and then I just put a little bit of extra time to just keep my glutes up there.
personally for you, what's your favorite glute exercise for you that you found has helped you the most?
My favorite glute exercise, I would say, well, seeing now, obviously you always trying different variations and whatnot, but up until leading myself up until now, my favorite one, I think I would say, would be hip thrusts.
Okay. Yeah, that's also, I mean, everyone thinks, obviously squats are great, but everyone thinks, if you want the biggest bum, you need to do squats. But obviously squats need to be implemented, but the isolation of the hip thrust is amazing, and that's actually why a lot of
it hits every angle of the glute.
Exactly. And so the tension that you can create from that movement is amazing. That's also why a lot of people have lower back injuries, because their glutes are underdeveloped. And people might think, squatting is going to improve that, when that your body, when you do a squat, it uses your entire body almost. Whereas the hip thrust is maybe like a little bit of quads, hammies, and then obviously your glutes.
Yes.
So now, were you going to do any shows this year before lockdown happened, or before the coronavirus struck us all?
Well, of course I was. I was doing my homework and back and forth with Vic, and there's this show, there's that show, but obviously with all of this happening, everything kind of took a backseat. Preparation. Yeah. So like I said, we stay ready.
Yeah. Had you had a show in mind that you, before lockdown happened, you're like, okay, I'm going to do that show, and then it kind of just never happened?
I did. I wanted to do the Vancouver Pro Show.
That's cool.
In Canada.
Canada's nice, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I went to Toronto. It's an amazing place. So where have you competed overseas, and what's your experience of it?
Well, I can take us back all the way to young 17-year-old Vanessa, where I headed out and I competed for a federation which was in South Africa, but it soon was just
So you started when you were 17? Sure.
Yeah, I was competing when I was 17. I got through Gauteng provincials, essays, and that qualified me to go over to the World Championships in Austria. That was for a federation called WBBF, WFF.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you...
That's just a NABA. It's kind of WFF.
No, it's not NABA.
WBFF. Okay.
WBBF, WFF.
And is that still in South Africa?
No.
Okay.
No.
And so, 17. What got you into competing at 17?
Well, I really, enjoyed the gym, because I was already going to gym. I was always involved with sports at school, and, if I had an afternoon off, I would, just get my homework done and head off to gym, man. And at that time, I knew someone that had a brother that was competing, and he said, "Hey, well, Vanessa, why don't you try and competing? It seems like you'd enjoy doing something like that." So, because spotlight was not for me, and I just said, "No, getting on stage with a bikini."
A lot of people's initial, difficulties with putting their mind around competing is, I don't want to be walking out there showing everyone everything. Things are going to fall out of place, or it's scary.
Exactly. So I said, no, I don't think that's for me. But, he said, no, well, just try it. There's the show. It was about 2 months away. And he's like, just try it, prepare for it. All you have to do is just get a bikini ready. So, and I've always been that kind of person, well, you know what? I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So let's just try and do it. And maybe a good 9-10 years later, here I am.
Sure. And what's your favorite experience, or something that you experienced throughout a prep that you really resonates with yourself as a person? So for me, the fact that I have to sacrifice at certain times that are more difficult help me, work harder in business in certain times that are more difficult. So what have you found that, prepping and the structure of it has improved in your daily life and your life outside of competing?
Outside of competing, I'd say resilience and just persistence in everything that I do, whether it be in, with work, with my studies, to just, if you're going to do something, do it properly and do it right, and make sure that you put in your 100%. So, because if you don't put in your 100%, well, you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to do it again.
You're the only person to blame if you don't. So you have competed in many federations and you plan on obviously still competing further. Is there any show that you would say, okay, next year I would love to do, if everything is okay?
Well, right now, a main focus for me would be looking at shows that would give me, the